just got real quiet and I got
Sam. Yeah, I thought he was just dramatically pausing, but
Podcast Daddy.
Sam.
Podcast Daddy. Where'd you go?
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I am Maddy Grace Webbin. Sam, we can't just play a little video game and talk about how we feel. That makes me feel angry. This podcast lacks subtlety.
I'm stupid. I'm stupider than you. I'm stupider than you in every way.
God, mood.
And today we'll be talking about the fifth part of Septerra Core, covering approximately everything up to the false conjunction. We're probably going to talk about the next two legs of the quest because they're stupid, but there's like no plot that goes with them. We
If
just
by
want to talk
talk
about
you
how
mean
stupid
bitch.
they are. Yeah, we're going to talk about this week for all of us involved.
The big plot twist for this week's pod is that this is the week when Maddy Grace finally meets her match. Is there a game that can be so stupid that even Maddy Grace doesn't enjoy playing it? And the answer is barely, but yes.
But before we get into all of that, how is everyone's week?
I have been playing a fuck ton of Hades, and I finally beat Hades in Hades for the first time. Everybody
when you
keeps
showed up,
asking
did you
me,
say that's Hades?
Everybody keeps asking me what weapon I used. I don't remember. I think it was the sword. I just remember that there was a lot of lightning going on. Because I had... Sorry,
in the
go on.
Bible, they refer to hell as Hades. So did you kill Hades in Hades in Hades?
No, I killed Hades on the surface in Hades.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was actually technically just outside of Greece.
Okay. Dang it.
That's too bad.
Sorry, spoilers for Hades.
Oh, almost a 3 times Hades combo Bob right there. But
Spoilers for Hades. It's got Greece in it.
Yeah. I know, it's weird. It's weird that Greece would exist in a game about the Greek pantheon, but you know.
I mean, now I'm never going to play the game because you just spoiled it for me. What's even the point of me playing it now?
Yeah, I know.
Every time I play a game, the only thing I care about is whether or not it has Greece in it, but I don't want to get spoiled.
This is a new Krabbin game, Greasing game. Greece, either spelled Greece or Grease.
Yeah, that's okay too.
So, like, I'm sure.
So Final
Something like
Fantasy
Cooking
15
Mama.
passes.
yeah, meaning either the location or the food byproduct or the 1950s inspired musical.
If that's in the game, I turn it off immediately and throw my console out the window.
Same.
Anything else about your week, Eli?
Nope. Everything
that's
else is just...
That's basically what I hear when somebody starts Hades, that they're, what have you done this week?
Just,
for the
that's just
next
kind of what
month
it
will
is,
just be Hades.
I mean, news happened, but God, I'm trying to just not freak out over everything.
Yeah,
So,
pretty interesting news is
it
happening. I just gave a little spiel at the end of my. I was streaming until we started recording this. I was like, okay, bye. I gotta go record my podcast. And anyway, I was just giving a weird speech about how we now live in what I was calling a post-Jokerfied society, which is sort of riffing on people last year kept saying that society had become Jokerfied, and now I'm saying that we're post-Jokerfied. And I was trying to, and the thing is, I was joking, but I wasn't totally joking. And the reason wasn't totally joking is that I feel like in the year 2020, just the most awful possible thing kept happening for no reason and completely unexpectedly, or sometimes entirely expectedly. But, the thing about 2021 is I feel like it's just as unpredictable and chaotic, but it's not as exclusively bad. Like it's sometimes when the Georgia Senate, or when they won that, like I told you, I was very surprised by it. I was caught off. I didn't think that was going to happen. I was wrong, right? My predictions were wrong, but like that's like an objectively a positive thing. And then Sam, me and you were talking about, or maybe no, me and someone else were talking about how like Biden is weirdly like pivoting left a little bit, which isn't what you're supposed to do after you win an election. And I use that term very lightly when I say pivoting left. I mean the very slightest bit, right? Yeah. But that's just weird. His whole election was about like, no, I'm a Republican. We're gonna do austerity. No, you can't have things. And then last week he explicitly says, yeah, actually I'm rethinking that. And we think we're probably going to do a really progressive sort of agenda with deficit spending. And I'm like, who are you? And what have you done with Joe Biden? So again, very tepid. I'm not saying it's like the best thing in the world. We're all saved, America's good now or anything, but it's weird. It's actually weirder and more uncomfortable than if the bad thing I was expecting had happened, because I didn't expect it. So anyway,
now you're in uncharted waters. You're like, I don't know.
Exactly. I feel like I had a pretty decent vision in my head of how the next 4 years were going to go. And now I don't really know. So yeah, a lot of politics happens. I usually think of myself as a pretty good, pretty sophisticated thinker when it comes to politics. But the events of the last week or two are beyond me. I do not know what the fuck is going on. Maybe in a month I'll know what's going on, get back to me. It's weird. No, that's a big part of my week as well, is this. You can't see, but I'm gesturing, doing like a vague, like sort of gesture, for whatever it is that's going on. I have a few things that went on with my week. The first thing is I am this close, again, holding my fingers very close together, to having a new place to live, to move in with my beautiful girlfriend. We're this close. Like the people in the apartment want to live with us. In fact, they really hit it off with my girlfriend. They really love them. They want to live with us. They sent our information to the landlord. The landlord sent us an application. I applied for the application, and the application, basically the stuff it was asking me to put in was all stuff that made me look good, and the stuff that would have made me look bad, it wasn't asking about. So that's cool.
Love that.
For example, my normal income is pretty okay, like totally a big enough income for this rent, but my income the last month has been terrible. So if they were like, put your last 2 pay stubs, I'd be in a rough situation. I'd have to explain, I normally make more money than this. My job, by the nature of its job, it's cyclical. It goes up and down. And that would be hard, but they didn't ask for a pay stub. So that's just right. So that's just an example. So basically I kind of lucked out. It's not 100% of a done deal though. The guy still has to make the decision, maybe he'll decide he doesn't want me there for whatever reason. So please just fingers crossed, send vibes, all that stuff. Please be, praying, if you like praying, that it not only happens, but that it happens before the end of the month. Because that would be best for me as far as giving notice to my current lease. It's so close, and I keep alternating between being really excited and happy and being stressed out of my mind because what if it doesn't work out, The second thing that is a big deal for this week, and I have other stuff too. It's been a very busy week, but I won't go into most of it. The second thing for the week, though, is that and this is a little bit of a shill, and I know we always let each other shill stuff, so I'm going to shill it now instead of at the end, although I'll do it again.
I was going to shill it for you if you decided not to.
Okay, no, I'm shilling this. So my attention, everybody. This is a time for an important, very important announcement. If you weren't paying attention before, which makes sense, I know people tend to tune out when I'm talking, but pay attention now. Okay,
I sure do,
and I only have myself to blame here. To be clear, I don't blame anyone for that. It's a reasonable, natural response to stimuli. Anyway, the news is that my wonderful girlfriend, who I don't know how they feel about their name and stuff being public knowledge. So I'll just say Mixtress Con, because that's what they go by online as of like a week ago. That's, I think that they decided that's their professional name. Is involved with a Kickstarter for a tabletop role-playing game. They are not the lead designer. The lead designer is someone named Emily, who is an I think a multiple times ENnie award-winning designer. So this is an established person who knows what she's fucking doing. She is the lead designer. This other person named Sarah is the artist. Holy shit, the art's incredible. And Kali is doing a lot of other work. Play testing.
You just said their name, and you said you didn't know if you wanted them to say their name.
I don't think they care. It's fine.
Okay,
it's fine. Whatever. It's fine. Thank you for telling me that. Also, I've said their name a million times. It's my girlfriend. If all they would need to do to dox them is go back to previous episodes of our podcast. Anyway, thanks, Sam. I'm bad at this. Anyway, the point is, my girlfriend is doing a little bit of design work, playtesting work, a lot of editing, and video production, just a lot of other stuff for it, and also a little bit of art, a little bit of supplementary art as well. And the Kickstarter launched on Friday they've been working so hard, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours for the last couple weeks. And it finally launched, and its goal was 5,000, and it made it in 3 hours.
Hell yeah.
Funded their goal in 3 hours.
That's fucking awesome. It's
really awesome. And like a lot of projects, you don't really just plan to get funded. You kind of expect to get funded if you're doing a well-run campaign. Because what you really want, of course, is to do all the good stuff, right? So there's a bunch of stretch goals. They go up to 25K. Although, of course, if they get close to 25K, they'll add more. They already have more that they're going to add, that they already know what they are. But anyway, and there's all kinds of exciting stuff. It then proceeded to go up. It's now at around 13,000 in 3 days, which is really insane.
Damn.
But the one that got me really excited is that at the 12,000 level, the stretch goal is an entirely new supplemental module that is written and arted and designed entirely by my girlfriend. And that's really exciting. In case you're curious, it is, so the game in general, it's called, I'll wrap this up. It's called Dungeon Bitches. It is a tactical role-playing game wherein disaster lesbians get fucked up in dungeons. It's really dark. It's very role-play heavy. It's about like having lots of emotions and feelings and violence and drugs and sex and dark feelings. I'm probably never going to play it. It doesn't sound like a thing I would enjoy at all. If it sounds like I'm not doing a good job pitching it, no, it's a game for certain kinds of people. If that kind of thing sounds like it's awesome, then you should play this game. But I'm really bad at role playing.
It's got the like heavy, like edgy gore, not like
it's extremely
edgy gore
edgy.
like Berserk the manga, but edgy gore like in an adult version of the Garbage Pail Kids. Type vibe.
It's very edgy. A lot of body horror stuff. Although a review of it, a write-up that some guy published of it, just yesterday, which is really cool, said that some games are like a pizza cutter, all edge and no point, whereas this game is like a hypodermic needle, all point, which is really good. Which is really good line. So anyway, if that sounds like it's good to you, if you like doing lots of role playing instead of just like pretending to be a guy with a sword and rolling a dice and that's it, then this game is probably for you. Kali's expansion, I will say, is like, it's like Twin Peaks if Twin Peaks was set in post-industrial Michigan, and had a lot of like underground punk rock influences. So like it's basically Twin Peaks meets Kentucky Route Zero. I know Kentucky isn't Michigan, but it's that game deals with that game deals with poverty in the post-industrial Midwest, right? And then combine that with like Riot Girl, like aesthetics, like I don't know, stuff like that. And just underground metal and hip hop and punk. If that sounds awesome to you, then you should back this game. So anyway, that is my pitch. I'm not going to be like, you got to back this game or I hate you. No, just check it out. Go to the website, Kickstarter. It's Kickstarter Dungeon Bitches. And if it looks at all cool, throw a couple ducats their way. Because it's by a very professional designer, and I'm sure it's going to be an awesome product.
One thing that was awesome about this project is I woke up and was doing my morning newspaper, which is Twitter, to like wake myself up for the day. And all of I follow a lot of like board game designer people on Twitter, and all morning,
you can just say trans people, Sam.
Yeah, I follow a lot of trans people, and John Sandow. Those are the people I follow. But so I was following, reading a lot of them, and like all day they were like, "Oh, hey, the Kickstarter launched for Dungeon Bitches," and "Oh my God, I play tested this a month ago, and it's finally coming out. You guys have to check it out," and stuff like that. I'm like, "Oh, cool! A new hip Kickstarter is happening." And then like an hour later, Maddy wakes up and is like, "Oh, today's the day. I need to tell my friends about it." And it was something I already knew because it had already gone viral on Twitter,
which is really cool.
It's pretty cool.
So again, check it out.
Mm-hmm. Like I went through the 8 million degrees of separation faster than I went through the 2 degrees of separation to the project, and that's just always really cool when that happens.
That is really neat. I told Kali that, and they were ecstatic to hear that. To hear that was the case. But like I said, check it out. And also just like, I know my girlfriend doesn't listen to this podcast, but just like, I'm just endlessly proud of them. I'm so proud. It's awesome. They are doing great work, and soon they're gonna have their name on a professionally published game. And not only are they going to be there as a contributor, but they're going to be the sole author of a portion of it. Good job. That's super cool. That's more than I've done with my life. That's my week.
My week. So I mentioned this before, but I don't remember how much I talked about it. But I talked about how I was going to try and play one of each video game or RPG series. You mentioned that. Did I also mention that I changed my instead of a checklist on my backlog, I turned it into a bingo card? Did I talk about that? Okay, so I saw on TikTok, which is my evening paper. My morning paper is Twitter. My evening paper is TikTok.
Oh my God, you fucking children and your fucking TikToks.
I know, right?
It's so funny because I forget that TikTok is for children because I only follow people my own age because I'm not a weirdo creep like that. And so every now and then something will be viral enough that the algorithm will be like, maybe you'll like this. And it's the weirdest like Twilight Zone that I just walked into something on that I don't belong to. It'll just be like some boring ass like white teenage girl singing some song badly in a car. It'll have 3 million likes, and I'm like, I know,
and you're like, what is this? I don't understand.
Yeah, and it's not even like in the normal TikTok way where they're like lip syncing to the song, because like those like I don't get, but I get because it's like
there's a base level of artistry to them.
The song's good. You're lip syncing to songs gets you big on TikTok. No, these are like singing to the radio in their car, and 3 million high school boys think they're cute, and that's why they have a like. And I'm just like, I don't belong here. But on one of them I was watching, this girl was like, this year I decided to not have a New Year's resolution because New Year's resolutions are big, and I have ADHD. I also have crippling anxiety, and I also have a lot of things that are a lot like Sam. So what I do instead of saying I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year is I divided that up into 25 subtasks that are easy, but you can't do all 25 at once. So it's still a big whole goal. And every time I do one, I mark it off. And if I get a bingo, I get myself a treat. And I'm like, that's super cool.
That's a really funny and good idea.
I already had 21 main series, so I just had to come up with 4 more, and so I split Persona and Shin Megami Tensei into two separates.
Good idea.
And added a couple things to round out the 25. And so my first star, as I mentioned, was Xenoblade. I finished that like on the first, and I got a lot of the way into Saga. Saga is really like intense. It's hard in like actual like JRPG design hard, where like you can't grind it because the monsters will just get better with you, and so I just have to get good, and so it's a lot. So I'm taking my time on it. So I started Fire Emblem Awakening because Bernard says it's the bad one, but I liked the beginning of it enough where if I liked it and it's the bad one, the only time I can possibly play it is now, because if I say I started on the good one, I'm like, wow, this is great, and then I go to the bad one, like it's 50-50 on if I'll like it enough to do it. But if this one's like decent, knock it out of the park right the way.
Nowhere to go with that? No, 100%. Yeah, makes sense. You're smart.
Yeah, and it's pretty good so far. I'm only on like chapter 5, so I've only done like 5 battles, but I forgot how much I really like tactics role-playing games. Like they were my favorite for like a decade, and I forgot because
I loved Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. I played the shit out of that when I was a kid.
That game fucks.
Yeah, so that's fun. I plan on keeping you all abreast of the games that I'm doing, because I'm finally doing my homework as a host of a JRPG podcast and playing. So like some of these series are on my list, and they will be the first game that I've played in the series, like Fire Emblem and Saga. So yeah, I need to get my street cred back. But
I'm actually thinking of finally playing a Frimblem after always saying I will never play a Frimblem. Because I'm sure y'all saw that the very first ever Fire Emblem game was put on Switch with a translation and some features, and it looks awesome. You know, I love old clunky bullshit. And it's the very first game in the series, so I kind of want to play it. What I didn't realize is they're doing a fucking Mario ass thing with it, where it's a limited game. It's only available for limited time, which I hate that shit. But what does that do? It makes me decide to buy it. So that's how they fucking get you, right? That's how they fucking get you. Our terrible business practices are succeeding in getting you to purchase our video game. Anyway, I heard it's dope, and it's like $8, so I'm probably gonna go get it. And then I'll have, then I'll have to finally, after annoying everyone in my all my loved ones by stoutly refusing to ever play a Fire Emblem game for no other reason than just sheer stubbornness, I am finally going to have played a Fire Emblem game. Rip.
Nice. The way that Doug Bowser like caged his way around that makes me think there's a plan for March, and it's not going to be gone forever. But
I don't know, man. It's see. Nintendo.
Yeah, if anyone could use Disney's horrible practices that it took Disney 30 years to stop putting things in the goddamn vault. No, like until
wait,
Disney
they stopped
Plus,
doing that
because of Disney Plus. Now everything's on Disney Plus.
Oh, right. So they didn't. Really. So it's like they just replaced it with an actually more insidious business model.
Yes, but like it feels worse. The vault feels worse, even if it might not be like.
That's why it's more insidious, because it doesn't feel as bad.
True.
Wink.
But I've said a long time ago that like if Disney becomes our evil robot overlords, it's kind of okay, because they made Little Mermaid and Lion King, and so like I'll drink their Kool-Aid. I don't want to, but if of anyone's Kool-Aid, I'll do it. Like the only reason I have HBO Max is because it came free with my internet up here. Otherwise, like I don't like WB enough to drink their Kool-Aid, but I do like Disney enough, and it makes me a shill, and I'm disappointed in myself. But whatever.
It does, and you should be, but also I get it.
Yeah. Speaking of none of that, so today
you tried.
So this week, Scarlett was like, I want to do a Let's Play, because she watches the Mother Goose Club's Let's Plays. They have this girl that's pretending to be Eep the Mouse, which is the Hickory Dickory Dock Mouse in the normal episodes, but that's played by a young boy, and this is obviously a woman who's in her 30s who's a voice actress, but whatever. And so Scarlett watches those all the time, and she was like, I want to do one today. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like I have streaming set up. Let's go and do it. And so we did a stream of Chips Challenge and Scribblenauts Unlimited, and it was a whole lot of fun. The VOD is up on my Twitch. The quality is really bad because Chip's challenge is so fucking good. Also, she was doing great. I thought we were on episode 1 because it was called Elementary, and hadn't played it in a while to remember what level 1 was, and it wasn't until we were watching the VOD back later that I realized she was like acing level 15. She just was running out of time because she's a kid, but like she was figuring out all of the puzzles, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, kid, look at you go. But
you got a smart kiddo.
Yeah, and so every night to get her ready for bed, because she's a 4-year-old, and you can't just say, go get ready for bed, because that's a big task, and kids can't do big tasks very easy. You have to like break it up. And so to get ready for bed, we do her quote unquote chart, because back in Texas, she had a physical chart on her wall that was like, oh, brush your teeth, get your pajamas on, those sorts of things. But we didn't bring it with us because it was just like paper, and so we just threw it away. And so now we call it her chart, even though there is no physical chart anymore. And so every night when we do the chart, we to like get her excited to actually want to go to bed, we'll do like a pretending or something where it's like, oh, tonight when we do our chart, let's be Sonic, and we can pretend that like us doing ABC XYZ is this part from the movie or whatever. And so it like tricks her into using her imagination to brush her teeth and pretend that she's fighting Dr. Robotnik or whatever the fuck. And so tonight she wanted to do a nighttime routine YouTube vlog. And so I shot the vlog, and now I'm like actually editing it together. Nothing fancy, just an app on my phone to stitch all the clips together. But she's big. Remember when like we were recording our first episode and she was so small she couldn't talk? All she could do was cry, and we had to stop halfway through the episode, and I had to like put her down to sleep while we were recording. And now she's fucking made 2 YouTube videos today. Like, what the fuck? This is bullshit.
This kid has ambitions,
right?
Those will die eventually.
Yeah. But besides the VOD, I don't even know if I'm going to save the VOD forever. I might just download it, keep it for myself, because I don't remember if I have my Twitch set up to save VODs forever. I'm not going to post either of them. They're just for her, but it was still great.
You can post some like unlisted or private videos.
Yeah, something like that. The other thing that happened this week, the small one, is a new 5 Iron Frenzy album dropped, and it's their second album since they came back from hiatus, but they haven't done anything in the last 7 years after they came back from hiatus, and their hiatus was only 9 years long. So it's like they were so close to having 2 identical hiatuses, even though one of them, the band, wasn't broken up. But the music is good. It feels like a 5 Iron Frenzy album in the way that California by Blink-182 feels like an old Blink-182 album, where it's like, man, I would have loved this back when the old ones came out, but it's 2021 now, and so like something feels off, but it's not bad. I really liked it.
I haven't listened to it yet. I just haven't had time. I've been very, very, very busy and very, very, very stressed. And me and you differ on the previous FIF album, right? I thought Engine of a Million Plots was fantastic, and you thought it was So I'm really interested to see how I feel about the new thing. I didn't like the one single that they put out, but it's just one single. Sometimes the single sounds better in context, and other times it just isn't good, but the rest of the album's good. So yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I thought Engine of a Million Plots was like really good, but I can definitely see that being more of like a they had one last enough time. Well, I was gonna say enough time had gone by that they had enough heart inside of them to really put out one great album. But then again, it's been almost as long since that album. So I guess that isn't it. But yeah, no, I'm looking for. I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably listen to it like, I don't know, maybe tomorrow or something like that. Of course, I'm gonna like just straight through, right, start to finish, no interruptions.
But my final thing is, I think my computer might be dying. This is the fourth reinstall of Windows since I got my new SSD, and the problems are still here, and it sucks bad. And trying to get Septerra Core to run this week. I couldn't. And as you'll find out in a second, this was a really beefy week that we cut in half to talk about today. So I did not get to play at all this week. Hopefully we have it planned where I can catch back up, but we'll fucking see.
Glitching on you had me worried that it was going to glitch on me, but it didn't. So that's good.
Yeah, me and Summer have decided that our tax returns this year, we were planning on doing a couple like small things and stuff like that. We're like, scratch all of that. We didn't get Christmas presents because money was tight and kids are more important than us. So our Christmas present is going to be a new computer for both of us. Get her a new Mac and a new
that's
PC.
A great idea.
So we're going to do that with our tax returns because then my current PC, I can leave it on Linux forever and it can be our like dedicated Plex server and stuff like that. And her Mac will be the kids' like educational like school computer and stuff. So everything lined up pretty good. So soon I will not be having computer problems, but that will be in tax season. So in 2 to 3 months, I will have all of that figured out. But speaking of this gargantuan week, let's listen to the Septerra Core title theme, the last song we haven't listened to on our OST, and then we'll talk about the plot this week.
We ran out.
All right, so last week we left the Chosen Palace with a key in hand, having obliterated the Magi, and the game doesn't tell you shit all what to do next at all.
Nope.
It just kicks you out of the palace and the last thing it says is, "Oh hey, this is a key," and then you leave the palace.
Yep.
And that's it. So.
The game
job.
does it twice this week, and I gotta say, this time, I thought it was cool. It was neat. It reminded me of Dragon Quest 3. Not as good, but it reminded me of Dragon Quest 3. You gotta think, well, fuck, what's my goal? What do I do? I'm gonna explore. And it ended up being neat.
Yeah. This one, I don't mind as much. Then they pull this trick after every plot point this week, including the ones we didn't get to. So it's a little bit bullshit. It's a little bit of a cop-out when you do it this many times. But the cop-out is that way back on Shell 2, which we haven't thought of in ages, there is an exposition man, as you remember, who
he knows about
exposited the beginning. He exposited the beginning of the game, and he'll exposit to you now. So we go back to Aziz, and we tell him that Doskius almost made a fake conjunction, and that the delicate balance of the core is all fucked up now. And we show him our core key, and he says that the core key is contained inside of a protective shell that we need to melt off in a high heat. And but the key will be fine. It's made to withstand the heat of even lava, and that's a hint. And just in case the player doesn't remember anything about lava, Maya thankfully has a conversation tree about how the Underlost worship a hell god who lives inside of lava. So if you just are clicking all of the things, she'll bring it up to remind you that that's where you're going. So we go all the way back to Shell 7, but we can't get through the mold forest without gas mask. Or if you go to the lava first, Maya has some sort of like, I don't know what to do with that. If you try to just drop it in the lava, you have to get something to pick it up. So we can't get through the mold forest without gas masks. So we ask the miner if he has one, and he says no, but there should be tons just laying about the place in Ankara in the research base. So we head off to Shell 5, which has been taken over by Connor and his pirates. And even worse, after having their whole country smushed, Janam released the plague that they released back in the resource wars to kill everybody. So
wait, how do you find that out?
The NPCs I mean, I was reading the Let's Play, and he just put in
wow.
NPC confirmation.
I feel like I talked to like every NPC in the game 5 times this week, and I managed to miss that detail. I was just like, where'd everyone go?
Yeah.
Some of the towns, there's reasons, but I didn't. Neat. Look at that.
Yeah. So we go to the Ankaran capital, and we kill one of Connor's guards, and he gets us a key to the research base, which is where we head next. It is a fairly big dungeon, but the breath masks are pretty easy to find, and they're just equipment in chests. And if you're lazy, the robots in your party don't need them, so you can just put Runner and Lobo in your party and just grab one, and only have to do half of the thing. Later, you have to come back and find an item, so you might as well do it all now.
Right, I was about to say, but if you're me, you luckily have already... So, for the record, the whole conversation with Aziz Ansari earlier, I missed that whole thing. So I'm going along trying to find out what to do. I had to figure it out a different way. But one of the things you do is I was like, well, I want to get to the core. What's at the bottom of the core? The Shell 7. Shell 7's the closest thing to the core. Also, Aziz said something about like, he was like, we were like, how do we get to the core? And he's like, don't they do mining? And I was like, sure. Mm-hmm. So I go down to the core and I go to the mining town. And so that's what the point is. I just talked to the mining town guy already and found out that I needed this item. So yes, please, when you go to this dungeon, get both of the important items.
Yep.
And they don't actually tell you that the item is here. This is another part where I had to figure it out on my own using my brain. And I actually thought it was cool because they're like, I forget how, but the way that the guy in the mining place says, he's like, yeah, these mines, you know, basically the way that he writes it, the way that he writes what the lens is and how you deal with them, I was just able to be like, oh, there's that research lab. I bet they would have this item. And then I felt really smart when I got it. The reason I keep talking about things that the game is doing right is to contrast with what happens later.
Yeah, this game has really well written NPC chatter to tell you where to go next. It's like almost not quite, but almost to like an early Dragon Quest level where every person has something to say about some hint.
At its best, it is like that. Yes.
Yeah. It just sometimes decides to not have a single person tell you a goddamn thing. And that it happened a lot this week. But like normally you'll go through and you're like last week's puzzle, I didn't have to look up a single part of this solution. The only time I did, I already had the thing. I just didn't know what order to click the buttons. But it's like every single person is like, oh yeah, something swamp hellgack, something leeches, something sleeping gas, whatever the fuck. Like every single step, there was somebody talking about one of the particular items, so you could just waddle your way through it all. And we'll return to this in a moment.
Yeah.
So you make your way through the research dungeon, get just one mask if you're lazy, pick up the diamond cutter, which we'll get back to. And we put on our gas masks and we go to the Mold Force Yucky section, which is a way too big, empty ass hallway, but it's a labyrinth. Like it's the biggest map in the game so far. None of it's hard. It's just big to be. Yeah, it's
wow.
Like the map itself is like 6,400 by 3,900 pixels or something like that. It is.
Huh. I feel like I didn't notice. Maybe it's so early on in the game that I was just having a good time.
Yeah. But
I mean, early on in the play for the week, of course.
Yeah. And so you get through the huge labyrinth. You go through a hole. You keep going, and you eventually find a Hell God's Claw, which you can use to lower the key into the lava because the Hell God withstands the lava. And so we go to that goddamn cave dungeon that we hated so much on a few weeks back, go to the lava, lower the key into it, and we take it back to Aziz. When we get to Aziz, he says that we must use the key to unlock the core. And we're like, but we only have one key. And he's like, yeah, but the bad guy has the other key and he's trying to get your key. So go to the core, he'll be there, kill him, take it, and save the world. And we're like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's really smart. We probably
very simple plan.
We probably should have done that in basically every RPG we've ever played. Like, if you and the bad guy are all after the things and you have one of the things, just wait for him to come to you and don't have to go and do a whole quest. But
also, unlike some other games like Final Fantasy IV, for example, Final Fantasy IV, the bad guy wants the things to do a bad thing. You don't want them. You don't need them. You just want the bad thing to not happen. So, of course, the goal is what? Instead of taking all 7 of the crystals to go hang out with the bad guy who has the 8th crystal so that he can trick you and take all your crystals, you should just, I don't know, grind all of your crystals up into a fine paste and spread them into the ocean, right? But in this game, we actually need the keys because it's not just the bad guy trying to do something. We're trying to save the world using the keys. So it actually makes, like, this is the one game, the one RPG ever in which it actually makes sense to take the magical items to where the villain is. Yes. It actually makes sense, which is hilarious because of because of what's going to happen.
Yeah. And so here is where I found out that the core isn't an 8th ring. It's just like the core of the 7th ring. Like the 7th ring is like a planetoid in the very middle, and so you get to the core by just drilling through the crust and not flying down to another level, which makes me unsure of how the conjunction is supposed to work. Like, does it just the sunlight have to reach shell 7, or does the sunlight have to reach like through a volcano in shell 7? Like, what do you mean get sunlight to the core? No idea. But
actually, this next dungeon we're about to go through did have some weird teleporty bits, kind of. So maybe it sort of is like you're descending into some, like a thing that is a little bit disjointed from Shell 7.
Maybe so.
You know, there were some weird warpy boos.
Mm-hmm. Who knows?
That's the technical term.
Yeah. So Aziz is like, Doskius mines the core, go to his mine. And we're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So we go back to the Mold Forest, the place where we just left. But thankfully this time is in the smaller part of it that we had already done before.
And you can technically get through this without a single battle.
Yeah. And if you get in the battles, they are still the level that they were last time. It's not new mobs, which is great. So it's a cakewalk compared to all of the other dungeons this week. So there's, when you get to the end where you fought the mining Helgak or whatever, there's a new door there that goes further down in. So we go through and we get to the core. It is really pretty. There are lots of weird glowing plants and roots hanging everywhere.
It is it's absolutely beautiful dungeon. Maybe my favorite graphics in the game so far.
Yeah, it's really great. The point of this dungeon is you go around killing these elemental daemons and you get their keys, which then let you open up doors, and watching the first of several hours worth of lever pulling animations.
I want to share 2 tips real quick. One, you can skip the lever animations by right clicking. The bad news is you don't know which doors have opened and closed, but you could go to your map, which does show it, but not super clearly when a passage has opened or closed. So you can skip them. The other tip I will share, you said you got to fight the 4 daemon mini bosses, so they're really hard. At least they were for me. You don't have to fight them. They are not triggered by anything. They are just regular mobs who attack when you get near, and when you engage them. You can. I had to fight the first one, and because the first one was so scary, I was really scared for the next 3. So I just watched their patterns of movement like you would with NPCs, and I tried to just sneak up, grab the thing, and get the fuck out. Turns out you can. They are so strong, and they are a unique enemy, so they are definitely like mini bosses. But the game doesn't make you fight them, so try that if you feel like it.
Nice.
And of course, you can save anytime you want, so you can always do a little save before you try it.
Yeah. So after you get through the first half, you fight one of the hell gods whose arm you stole earlier. And fun fact about this boss is this is the one that was broken in 1.3. so the game couldn't be completed for like 10 years. And and so the hot fix that they did was the I'm a real weenie Control Alt F3 skip. And so this was the boss that you had to skip to be able to beat the game back in the day.
Yeah.
This boss, for me, fucking sucked. It wasn't hard, but I must have just been a little underleveled, maybe because I skipped 3 of those mini bosses. I don't know. He wasn't doing a ton of damage to me, and I was able to stay. I kept my shields up, and I had, of course, before I came on this dungeon, I fully stocked up. Oh yeah, at this point, money has stopped being an object.
Absolutely.
Remember how last week was an endless series of dungeons, and we didn't see a single like inn or shop? Well, now we have an airship, so between each dungeon, you can buy 20 heal alls or 30, 50 revive potions, all that stuff. But this dungeon was still so long that I was still a little struggling by the end. But anyway, this boss, I had no danger of dying, but God, it took forever. He has so much health and so much defense. I ended up literally just getting 2 characters up to maximum stamina and then casting the water summon. I just figured water because he's a fire monster. I just had to do that over and over for like probably 20 minutes.
Weird.
I mean, I wasn't timing it. Yeah, the walkthrough said it was easy, which is weird.
Yeah, he hits really hard, but his RNG seems to like just punching you instead, and he only has 975 HP, so that's like 3 or 4 summons. So
except my summons weren't doing that much because I guess I was underleveled or something.
Yeah, weird. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, so a few more levers after the Hell God, we come to Daskius, and he's like, "Oh, thanks for bringing the key." And Maya's like, "Yeah, I only came here to drop it in Mount Doom in front of you." And he's like, "But if you do that, you'll kill everyone." And she goes, "Like, you killed all of my fucking family and friends and everyone that lives on my entire shell." And he's just like, "Oh yeah, I guess I did do that. Whatever. Don't give a shit." And it's like,
and then the dumbest thing ever happens.
Yes. But him be like almost not even remembering how much he ruined her life, like hurts worse than just like, "Oh yeah, it was fun watching your family squirm." It's like, I honestly don't even remember. Whatever. Shell 2, who cares? I was fighting a war. And it's like fucked up. So he sicks his guards on us, and they take the key from us, and then the conjunction happens. So Daskius uses the keys, and an angel appears. But instead of giving him the power, she gives him a riddle, and that is, quote, "Lo, when the 2 halves are made one, and ye have brought together the forces of power and wisdom, it shall pass that the legacy of the Creator," the name of the game, "shall be delivered unto the Saviors. When the land shall rise and form the runes, he shall grant the power to draw the wisdom, and ye shall be judged. If worthy, ye shall have everlasting communion, and the world shall be made safe, and ye shall have truly inherited the kingdom of heaven. If unworthy, ye shall be destroyed in the pits of Janak," which is an unnecessary word for hell, because we already fought hell beasts. You can just say hell, not Janak, but whatever. The angel then tells us to leave, and Daskius throws us into the pits of the core, but it's not as deep as he thought, so we survive, and we make our long-ass trek back to the world map.
So I think you've undersold how stupid this is. So you said that he sicks his enemies on us, and they take the key. It's more like he says to his cohorts, "Get the key," and they walk up and they take it, and that's it. As if did we not expect this? Like, the whole point was that we both have the key. We have one, they have one. We have one, they have one. We have one, they have one. So what do? We take it from him. But we just stand there, and then he's like, "Take it from them," and then we're like, "Oh no."
Yeah, we were just
we fucking shoot them. We have guns. We have swords. There's no struggle.
And even then, we just said, "I'm going to throw this into the lava." So he was like, "Get the key." She should have just thrown it into the lava.
And then when he's like, now bad guys throw them into the lava. Again, there's no struggle. There's not even a line where she's like, "No, stop," and you hear like fighting noises. It's just like they just go along with it. It is so bizarre. Like, if they had gone in there, like, did they not have a plan? Were they just like, "Hey man, oh no, you tried to take the key? We didn't think you would do that," even though that's what we were trying to do. But anyway, when he does that, like, here's what you could, like, it could have been like they have some kind of plan. They say, okay, you do this, you do this. They go in there and they do their plan, but then, or maybe they just defeat the guards, right? But then Doskius is like, I have some kind of secret thing you didn't know about. Maybe an extra powerful sword. Oh, wait, he does have that. See? He literally has that. Or maybe he casts a spell we weren't expecting. You know, he surprises us. He thwarts our plot, and then we're defeated and he gets it. And we're like, we tried our best, but it didn't work. But no, he thwarted our plot by trying to take the key from us. My jaw was on the floor when I played this. I was just like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. And it's especially funny because, as I said 20 minutes ago, the setup was actually really good and made a lot of sense.
Yeah. So dumb. But so we head back to Aziz and we tell him about the riddle, but he's just like, interesting. And the game leaves you hanging. Yep. And this is technically where we're stopping for the week. All of us have experienced in some way or the other. Eli has played to the original stopping spot. I wrote notes to the original stopping spot, and Maddy has played like 2 or 3 more plot beats. So we're going to talk a little bit more about it because it's extra fucking dumb, but we'll cover it in detail if there's anything cool next week. But so the game leaving you hanging basically just asks you to think of all the plot threads that haven't been solved yet and to talk to the relevant NPCs to see which ones have new dialogue, and therefore you can do the next thing. And there's really no hints on what to do besides if you were taking notes and or remember what happened before, because the place to start the next thing is to talk to Layla. As you remember, she's still on that mountain waiting for us. There was like that small side quest a couple weeks ago where you could go and talk to her and have updated quest dialogue. But so that's where we're headed.
For example, I will say one of those Sam, you said it perfectly. You just remember what are all the different plot beats. One of the plot threads that hasn't been resolved is what's going on with Connor the pirate. Turns out like half the NPCs in this game talk about Connor the pirate. It's all anyone talks about. If you're below shell 5, if you're below shell 3, if you're on shells 4, 5, or 6, every NPC is Connor this, Connor that. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe I gotta take down Connor. But no, Connor's nowhere to be seen. We have no idea where Connor is. He might be important at some point. He's trying to make the mirror of whatever. That's this whole thread. Anyway, turns out, I guess Connor's next week.
Maybe so. Who knows?
He's
not right now.
Yeah, it turns out this week we have to liberate Wind City. But here's the thing. Wind City has been under occupation since the first week of this game. And our characters it's been fine. But now all of a sudden it's like, I guess we need to liberate Wind City now. Why couldn't we do it last week? Because we didn't feel like
Technically, you could.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they have a little bit of my respect there.
Yeah, during the whole, like, once you get the airship, you can start doing it there. But literally everyone was like, hey, the Empire's on fire. We should go and do things at the Empire. Like there is a burning candle, as it were, and you could ignore it in JRPG fashion and go and do it there if you wanted to.
That makes sense, actually.
Who would want to?
Yeah, there are a couple of these maybe side quests, but maybe they're not side quests. Maybe they're mandatory plot quests. I just don't know yet, you know? I did do a couple of those last week and this week that I haven't mentioned just because it hasn't been relevant. So yeah, you can do them out of order. Although I will say, turns out this game's XP curve is really steep. If you go to a dungeon that we're going to go to like next week, they will demolish you. Yeah. I didn't realize how steep the difficulty curve was until, we went to the forest, which was last week's shit, and it's easy as pie. And if I go to something that's not ready yet, it is like a random battle is unbeatable. So, hey, that's one way to know if you're not supposed to go there or not.
Yeah,
I had no idea the difficulty curve was that bad because I've been cheating.
Yeah. But it's actually good because that means if all the NPCs annihilate you, then you know you don't go that way. Yeah, which is nice. You don't waste your time.
So I had I've been mostly cheating my way through the game. I didn't put in the items cheat, but I put in the skip battle, not skip battles, the Control Alt F3 instantly end battles cheat. So like I've been doing all of the random battles that I would be doing if I were playing the game, I just was skipping them. So if my balance is off, I have more healing items than I normally would because I'm not taking any damage. But other than that, It's like on par as if I was playing through. But I ran into a cool looking enemy and I'm like, oh, I love this battle system. I'll fight the enemy. It was when we were in the Chosen Palace and they were the little like jellyfish robots. I was like, those look cool. They were hitting me for they were like one hit killing grub. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how am I under leveled? I've been doing all of the battles like numerically at least.
No,
like,
those jellyfish robots are insane. If I see them in any area, I'm like, these are the toughest enemies in this area. And if this is an area that's from later in the game, they're going to be unbeatable. Turns out at some point they start getting heal spells. And there's one area I went to because I was exploring, trying to find out. Remember that pipe we picked up?
Uh-huh.
Or maybe you don't know this. There's an area in Shell 6 that you can go if you go a certain direction on the mountain pass or in the pirate cave. And there's this room where nothing happens, and then there's a giant machine, and the machine won't turn on, and it's missing a quote-unquote pipe of a metal pipe. I managed to find the metal pipe this week, just randomly. I was like, hey, it's a metal pipe. I want to go do that quest. Turns out in that area is an encounter that you can't get past. You can't sneak past it. It's just a random battle, though. You just can't get around it. And it's just 2 of these little jellyfish guys. They do hit really hard, but that's not what makes them impossible. What makes them impossible is that when you get them low on health, they heal, and they heal for a lot. And try as I might, I literally could not beat them. I'd be like, attack them twice to get them close to the edge of where they heal, but not all the way, and then get all my characters all the way up to full stamina, and then wallop them as much as I can, and also cast slow on them, all that stuff. I put way too much time into this, and I shouldn't have wasted so much time doing this, but I wanted to beat it. I wanted to overcome the challenge, right? Eventually, I just fucking gave up. I was like, holy fucking shit, I hate these enemies so much. Yeah.
It's wild.
Anyway, I'm sure next week I'll fight them and it'll be easy.
Yeah. So yeah, we look all over the place. We end up talking to Layla, and we're going to go liberate Wind City because of the Civil War that was happening last week, which is why you could do it last week. There's only one battleship still in Wind City, so the time is right to do it. So she's like, there's some guards of the Seven Winds that are still there out in the forest, but they have it blocked off. You'll need to go around the back way and cut across the reservoir. And we have a spaceship. We should just click on the forest and Lobo drop us off 10 feet further in on the other side of the gate, but that doesn't work. You have to build a boat, and you build the boat. You build the boat out of a Helgak shell that I thought was a hole in the ground when I was trying to interact with it, and realized it was for later last week. And so what you have to do is you go to the Oasis junk heap, which for some reason we can enter now. The robots don't say anything different, but Maya just now says that she'll fight them instead of being turned away when they say you can't come in here. Very so weird. You can go into the junk heap now for some reason, and you get the pipe that Maddy was talking about and a grappling hook. And then if you go
grappling hook is almost impossible to see, by the way. You have to pick the hunt like crazy to find it. I thought I'd missed a trigger. I thought the game had glitched because I could not find it.
So you go all the way back to the Helgak graveyard on Shell 7. You use the grappling hook to grab that big ass Helgak shell that like I said, it looks like a sphincter hole in the ground.
Yeah, it's
like
so gross. It looks exactly like that.
I thought it looked more like a some kind of little dessert wafer.
Yeah. But I did not think it would be a boat. So you use the grappling hook on it.
The game calls it a boat. Bernard astutely pointed out, I think by the most generous thing you could possibly call it is a raft. I think boat is just not. I think that is too much. I do not think it can be called a boat.
No, it's a boogie board.
Yeah, it is a raft or a board or a whatever or a flotsam. It is not a boat.
It's a trash can lid.
Yes. So we use the grappling hook to tie it to the bottom of Lobo's ship, and which just hammers home that we have a spaceship because it's what drops off the item for us. So he could have dropped us off 50 feet further, whatever. So you take it to the reservoir, cross it. When you do, it floats away. So the only way out is through. There's another big, not interesting dungeon, and you'll eventually run into the guards from Wind City who are like, oh, we need to sever this power cable so that we can cut off power to the city. That'll give us chaos that we can go in and win everything back. But we need a light source and a big ass lens. And hopefully you have Lobo in your party, because Lobo says that he uses lasers in battle and that his lasers could be the beam. We just need a focusing lens.
Oh, cool.
Lobo fights with a handgun and he shoots rockets and not lasers from his torso. It would make sense if Grubb said this plot point about Runner, who uses lasers, but whatever.
Yeah, so, but Runner's not sentient, so...
But I mean, like, Grubb could say, oh, we could just use Runner type thing. Like, Grubb could be the plot point, and it would be
He could, but fuck it. We gotta use Lobo.
I had Lobo in my party. Maybe I was spacing out, not paying attention to that part. Maybe I was talking with the cute new viewer.
This is beyond where you were, I thought.
Oh, I was past the part where they said we need a lens and a light source, but maybe that happens twice. Maybe that happens at more than one point in the game.
Or maybe you just hadn't come back to resolve it and do the cable part, which isn't very much after this point. But maybe. So to get the lens, you go and get a diamond saw from the Ankaran research lab. Hopefully you grabbed it earlier. Then you take that saw and the large shard of corite that we got when we woke up from our like fever dream about our mom or whatever. If you take that back to the miner, he cuts it into a smooth lens. And we take all of this back to the cable and we cut it. The guardsmen run off to the city. We talk to Layla. Layla says that we need to go to the battleship, which is above the Capitol building, which is connected to the library that we have a shortcut to. You can only use the shortcut if you have Corgan in your party. So,
which sucks.
So you get Corgan, you go to the thing, and then you watch... I think it was another 4.5 hours of lever pulling animations.
God, yeah, approximately. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like 4 floors with a lot of levers, and it's stupid.
See, I thought y'all were complaining about all the levers in the core, and I was like, okay, look, this is a lot of levers, but it's not that bad. But turns out I hadn't even gotten to the part y'all were complaining about.
Yeah.
Turns out it gets worse.
And so the Let's Play didn't have any pictures from it, but from what I understand, you basically flip a lever, go through the door, exit stage right, wash, rinse, repeat for 3 floors. And yeah. So,
and every time a lever flips, you have to watch as the camera pans over to the door, and the door opens or closes, and then it pans over the next door, and another door opens and closes, and then it pans back to you. Every single fucking time. And some of those doors are really far away, and so the camera panning just takes forever. I was curious, so I looked up the game on speedrun.net or speedrun.com. There are 2 people who have completed speed runs of this game.
Bless their hearts.
I think let me see. I actually have it up. Hold on. Yes, the second place, 23 hours, 33 minutes, 23 seconds.
Christ.
First place, 13 hours, 3 minutes, 46 seconds. I'm going to guess about half of that was opening doors.
Order of linen for that guy. Son of a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and in the rules, they're like, you can't use cheat codes and you can't use such and such glitch that isn't even like documented anywhere. So I don't know what they mean by that.
Yeah.
Because they probably called it that themselves and they don't have like a Discord.
But the only person to ever run this game have made a % where you can't use this glitch.
But so you get up to the top and you meet up with the sideburn sidekick of Doskius and you fight him. And a fun fact, he casts Barrier All on the first turn, which means your guys and his guys get a barrier. But we recently will have gotten the mirror card. So if you use
we
mirror
have.
and barrier, it takes off his barrier. So he basically buffs your party for you. And on turn 1, you can unbuff him and just go to town on him. So that's
Bless him.
Nice.
Wait, so what? Wait, what? I didn't use the mirror spell yet. What does it do?
it reverses whatever the other card you use is. So if you use mirror barrier, you get a dispel.
Oh, that's
card.
Oh, that's. So wait, so you can use it with
it's
slow to
pretty great.
get speed?
Yep.
Oh, that's hot. That is
it's great.
Sexy.
And when you take the guy down, you get the all cards. You can do reverse, slow, all, and haste your whole party.
Finally, they're doing something interesting with this system. They haven't the entire game. That is fucking. I'm all horned up about this.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we take him down, yada yada, yada, and then with the game again gives us no hints again, and we head back to Aziz, and we'll stop there because the next part kind of all leads together. Our original stopping spot was kind of blue ballsing on a plot point.
Yeah.
So we'll pick up in detail there next week.
Yeah, sounds great.
But,
also, I missed this chance to make this reference earlier, but I have to. The cable. I'm going to cut it. Only real heads. Real heads know.
Anyways, since we're out of Septerra songs, let's listen to a Halo track that we didn't listen to last Halloween, and we'll talk about our memorable moments. Awesome. So I have one Mim Mom that's a 2 side quests that I thought were really cool. I didn't do either of them, but while I was using the Let's Play to write my notes, they did both of them, and I thought it's a cool system that I would never run into because I don't give a shit about any of the involved characters. But Corgan hates the Chosen. Selena is a Chosen. If you use Corgan and Selena in battle together, Corgan will not listen to your commands. He will only attack Selena. And
that's cool.
Led is Ankaran and Lobo is a Janam. So if you have them in your party together, Led will not listen to your commands. She will only attack Lobo. But if you take Lobo to the wrecked ship that Grub was hanging out in when everyone was like, oh, he's saving the world or whatever, you get there and he was just like fucking around with his Rubik's Cube or whatever. So if you take Lobo there, he can interface with the computer and he'll get these medical records. You take those medical records back to Ankara, and Lobo is like, oh, I can process these things and I have the cure for this plague. And so the remaining survivors are now immune to the plague because of Lobo.
We fixed the genophage.
We fixed the genophage in one game. Take that, Mass Effect. But, so Led then is like, oh, like, even though you're a warrior, you're obviously fighting for peace, and I can get down with that, and we can chill. And so that, where they fight each other, gets removed from that then on. That's a weird party comp. I wouldn't use it in normal battles anyways, but whatever. Like that's so neat. It's cool that it's gone. For Corgan and Selena, if you remember when we went to Armstrong, there was that thing about the Armstrong seal. I think you can find that seal in the Chosen Palace, take it with Selena and Corgan down to Armstrong. You fight a palette swap of the demon we fought the first time we were there, and that makes them make happy, and I thought that was really cool. The only other ones that I have is graffiti is great in this game. Twice now we've gone to a dungeon and somebody has spray painted on the wall. This week's it was like it like made the lore cool. So you get to Wind City, and spray painted on the wall is "Down with our chosen oppressors" or whatever, which I thought was pretty cool. Last week's was stupid, and last week we didn't get to our memorable moments, but this was one I had from last week, and it just says, "For a good time, call Nicole," and it has like an arrow down to like where the number would be, and that part's like missing, like it was blown off.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. But those are all the ones that I have this week. Do you guys have any others?
I have a few. So, and
I have literally just one. So can I share it in case it's one of yours?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
The one that I had was, here it is. I feel like I had a couple screenshots where I'm like, I can't parse this, but anyway, I don't know why I took a screenshot of this, but anyway, when you're in the library, if you recall, and for the record, I didn't do this because I remembered. I did this because I was just exploring, but I remembered after the fact. If you recall, the first time we ever went to the library, there was this big like rotating globe thingy. It was a globe of all of Septerra. And when you click on it, the first time you get there, Grub's in your party. And it turns out Grub is in my party this time as well, coincidentally. When you click on it, he goes, ugh. Everyone's like, it's broken. And of course, anytime something in a game is broken, you got to fix it. So Grub goes, oh, I need a way bigger wrench to fix this. And when we first got that, when we first heard that line weeks ago, we thought that was a funny little one-off joke. Well, this time around, I hear that line and I'm like, oh. So I leave, change parties, get what's-her-name, led, and come back, and I'm feeling all very smart because I figured out an important plot thing. Also a little annoyed that an important plot thing is so obscure. But no, she fixes it. And then the abbot shows up and he says, thank you, that globe has been broken for many years. Please take this in gratitude. And then he gives you a soul stone, which is a pretty rare item.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cute. Wow. And it also made me think it's even more cute. Not only is it a cute little interaction, but if you recall, ages ago, there was a little bit of a plot where like Grub and Led kind of like each other or something. And remember Grub, back when we used to actually put him in our party because he didn't, because we didn't have anyone better. There's a bunch of little one-off scenes where you talk to an NPC and they have a problem, and then Grub is like, I'll fix that for you because I like fixing things. Well, seeing Led just randomly fix something for an NPC and get an item for it, made me be like, aw, they're like the same. It's cute. Anyway, that's all I got.
So I don't remember exactly where all of these took place because I'm bad at remembering things. First off, I have a screenshot I wanted to share of it's just a couple of portraits of this dude who I'm positive is a developer of the game.
Oh my god, he looks like he's been studying the blade.
Yeah, he does. Right? And I love that there's two of them there. They've got to duplicate the portrait to really like show them off.
Fucking funny. Is that, I haven't gotten here. No, is that Palace Part 2?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's right. You didn't remember. Well, anyway, y'all listening to this, make sure to watch out for this.
No, I do remember where that part is, but yeah, that's Palace Part 2.
It's really funny.
Yeah, I saw that and was like, I have to show them. It's hilarious. It looks like a portrait of one of my ex-boyfriends.
That is very funny.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So then let's see. Where'd my notepad go? Sorry. I can't believe I have more memorable moments than you two. In Wind City, there's some monitors that Maya can interact with, and she'll it gives you the eyeball icon. So I clicked on it. She'll interact with them, and she changes the channel. And it changes the channel to just elevator music. And then the group just stands there kind of gawking at the TVs while several guards come in and surround them. like you can't see their faces, obviously, because the low poly graphics. But I have a screenshot of that as well, and I just but I could feel like the confused energy as they're just staring at these three dumbasses looking at these snowy TV screens.
Love it.
And Maya finally notices them.
That's really funny.
Maya finally notices it and turns around and back to the TVs and then turns around again, and then the fight starts. And it's really funny. It's one of the few times where the pacing of the game, because of loading and shit like that, actually this works in its favor. It was just really, really funny. And then let's see, later on, Balcom reminds us of a better game with his line, "No, this cannot be. Please just let me play Legend of Dragoon again. I beg of you." I
reference Legend of Dragoon too, because I started getting to the point where, since the battles are getting tougher and tougher, especially when it's slower battles, I've started just, if I'm having to attack an enemy a million times to see when it's going to fucking die already, I'll just start adding up exactly how much damage I've done to it. And I'll do it really fast. I'll do it really fast. So I'll be like, okay, 36 plus 28. Okay, 36 plus 28. That's going to be 36, 46, 56. Okay, that's going to be 64. Okay, now I just did 13 more damage. Okay, that's 74. That is 77 damage. And then anyway, I was like, all right, everyone, I hope you love additions. And then I thought about another game that has additions.
Yes. Just the Queen's ass.
Just the Queen's ass.
There's
Eli, imagine if this slow ass game also had additions.
God damn it. I'm so glad that I can just cheat my way through this, because I guarantee I would have been like, I'm fucking out after episode 1.
Yeah, if you couldn't cheat on this.
If I couldn't cheat on this, I would be like, nope, I'm watching a Let's Play and you can't stop me. Because it's
Now I'm the one who's dying mostly because of my own stubbornness and not wanting to look at guys.
Yeah, your hubris. Let's see. There's another part where Corgan goes off with Layla, and you see Maya and someone else. I think it's just the other party member that you're with. But Maya says, "Where's Corgan?" And then 5 minutes pass before we see Corgan with Layla. They just stand there for a while, and it's one of those the loading times really fuck with the pacing of the game. But they also kind of make it unintentionally hilarious at times.
Yeah.
And then I have one little rant that I wanted to bring up.
Go for it.
It's that if you tab out of the game mid cutscene and tab back in, it completely skips the fucking cutscene. It makes
that's because tab skips cutscenes in general. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes playing the game while doing anything else, say, looking at a walkthrough or finding videos of where the fuck you need to go, incredibly difficult. So, woo!
It's only a little bit. I think I've been playing it in windowed mode, and I forget. I actually have only been playing it in that mode. Remember how I couldn't get the game running? I was having a really hard time getting it running. One of the things I did to try and get it running was play it in windowed mode. And to do that, you have to do a little modification to it. I forget what it is. It was really easy. But I didn't even do it because I wanted to play it in windowed mode. I just did it on my journey to getting the game to run, right? You should look it up. It's actually, like I said, it's really easy. I don't even remember how I did it. I basically did it on accident.
Yeah. We talked about how to do it in the first episode, because that's how me and Eli had to get it working as well, was to run in windowed mode. But what happens is, if you are not in a cutscene, it will freeze the game if you click out of it. But if you are in a cutscene, it doesn't have any code to remember where you are in the cutscene. So it either keeps playing while you're not looking, or it skips it automatically. I'm not sure exactly what's happening under the thing, but it's I will have it in windowed mode. I'll click over to do something else, thinking it will be paused when I come back, and it won't be. It's happened to me a couple of times where I'm like, Well, good thing I write my notes off the Let's Play because I have no idea what the fuck just happened.
That's funny because I'm clicking out of it. I'm clicking out of it pretty often because I'm streaming while I'm doing it, and I guess I just never once clicked out of it during a cutscene. Huh. Well, yeah. Now I won't.
Yeah. But yeah. This week was another. It was another week. Not that I played it, but like I watched people have struggles with it, and it's another like this game gets all of the hard parts right, and it gets all of the easy parts so god awfully wrong.
Yeah, so much of this game would be solved if a character just said, "We should go do this." Like the character, like the actual main characters of the game, were like, "We gotta go save Wind City." You know what I mean? Like the simplest, like a single line of dialogue so that we know. And it's not just like, oh, it makes the game easier, it makes the game too hard. It's also a narrative thing. Like, it's not good narrative storytelling when your characters don't have motivations, right? Or don't say what they are. So it's not even like I want the game to be easier. It's like it doesn't make sense dramatically.
Yeah, it's like my least favorite part of Final Fantasy VII, and the really only mar on its otherwise expert narrative design is there's a good chunk of Disc 2 where you don't know what to do. So a random character will just be like, hey, let's go do something else. And it's just kind of like out of nowhere. And this game this week did like 4 of those, but not without Sid coming forward and being like, maybe we should go talk to my wife and see if that starts a cutscene. We don't even get that much. It's just, hopefully you go talk to Sid's wife and find that cutscene.
Yep. And I could go on about it because I did have some things I wanted to say, but I'm not gonna. But yeah, it's dumb. It's very silly. The basic idea behind it, though, I do like how it's like, you know, you mentioned how that one area in Oasis was locked off before. Now it's not. I do like the whole idea of like, hey, you have an airship now. Remember all those areas that you couldn't go to before? Well, maybe now you should go check them out just to see. And it turns out a number of areas that you couldn't go to before are now just available, right? I like that. I like the idea of, again, Dragon Quest style, right? Just like click on enemy, click on things, explore, find out. But it's not put together right. Also, there are a few times I was talking with, what's her name, Layla, and I happened to click the correct dialogue option last. Turns out the other dialogue options refer to stuff you haven't heard about yet because we haven't done the plot one yet. If you talk to her about the Holy Guard, she's answering a question of what's going on with the Holy Guard when she's literally following up on information that you haven't received yet because you received that information in the plot necessary dialogue that you could click on. So yeah, so basically it only makes sense if you hear dialogue C after dialogue A, but you can pick dialogue C before dialogue A. And then I'm like, why are you saying, I don't know what you're talking about. And then a minute later, when I clicked on the actual plot relevant dialogue, I was like, oh, this was just out of order. You just didn't have a flag for, I haven't heard this yet, so I don't know what you're talking about. And also it makes no sense that like Maya is bringing this up with you. Right. So that's just like, that's beyond like obtuse. That's just like, that's a mistake. That is a mistake in the game's design. You shouldn't have a character follow up on a conversation that hasn't happened yet. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I was just like, oh, come on game. I hope it pulls it back together.
Yeah. The only like quote unquote hard part of game design that they like are struggling with is dungeon design. Their dungeons are too big. And all of them basically are find the switch to flip to open the door to keep going. So it's like, besides that, everything is so close to being right. But it's like, there's a 4-second loading screen, even on when I moved it to my SSD in the year 2021, which should eliminate the loadings. There's a 4-second loading screen for every battle. And then everything is super slow. And then the things are big. And then it's so close. And so if you're following along and you want to play the game, understand that, at least for me and Maddy, Eli, I think, wants to actually find a way to burn his digital copy of this game in a fire.
That's accurate. Yes. If anyone knows how, please let me know. You can find me on Twitter at Sailor_Eli.
No, you burn your copy of the game. Literally burn your copy of the game onto a DVD, or a CD. Then you delete the game off your computer, and then you take the DVD outside and you break it in half.
Yeah. Throw it in the street and watch as cars drive over it, and then set it on fire.
But yeah, the stuff that's good in this game is good enough that if this was hey, I have a summer to like fuck around and play a little bit of this game every day and explore all the things and do it on the slower path and not in the I need to reach this plot point in the next 4 hours type thing like we are, it would breathe a lot better. I also would love if they went in and they fixed some stuff with a 1.5 patch and just made it work a little better. But it's so close to being really good that it's in the uncanny valley. I think when I was talking to Eli, I called it the uncanny valley, and that being in the uncanny valley of a good game gets you really frustrated because all the good parts make you think that the bad parts should be better. Because like if the whole game was horseshit, we would just be in horseshit mode the whole time. But it's like, oh no, the story's good, the battle system is really good, and you can't open the map if you're moving, and lots of other like little just annoyance parts that just built up. Just
a real mixed signals kind of game. Just needed another 6 months in the oven, basically, to turn into not a great game, but into a significantly less frustrating one. Another 6 months in the oven. Yeah. It's really the Sonic 2006 of PC RPGs. Except I like Sonic 2006 a lot more than I like this game. I think Sonic 2006 is pretty great actually. But still, same problem.
I stand by it that someone should do a ROM hack of Chrono Trigger and port this game to it. I think it would do really good there, but I
actually have a prediction, by the way. There was a little bit of world building this week, quite a bit actually, that referenced some weird like ancient stuff. There's some weird stuff about a factory near Oasis that like was there before her people arrived or whatever. Anyway, there's a lot of weird world building stuff in this game. I've got a hunch, and I hope that this is true, that like the last 30 minutes of the game is like some Tetsuya Takahashi bullshit. We'll see if it does that or not. I really hope that that's where it's going.
Yeah.
Oh, also they did the whole thing where they're like, if you do the prophecy and you're pure, you'll turn into God, and if you're bad, you'll go to hell. Obviously they're setting it up where the bad guy is going to be like power, and they're going to be like, actually, we said in the prophecy that if you're unpure of heart, you just get blown up, and then he gets blown up. They're probably going to do that. Everyone's seen that trope. It's in every kid's movie.
Yeah, that did remind me that one of the things we're going to talk about in detail next week, we got a little bit of it this week, so it did remind me. But what I think is cool about this game is it's not the normal villain thing where Doskis is evil and he's like, he's not Thanos and saying, I'm going to solve overpopulation by killing half of every living being in the whole galaxy. Like, that's obviously a bad thing. And he says it'll save everything, but it won't. It will just be a bad thing. But Doskis, his goal is literally our goal. He just doesn't give a shit about anybody on the way. And so we are trying to stop him from doing the thing so that we can then do the thing, because we would do the thing with the like shoe leather of like, everybody gets safe before we do the thing. He's just like going to pull a trigger and just see what the fuck happens. And like, you don't see that very often in RPGs. And I thought that was really, really cool. And I like,
weirdly enough,
this game's doing that.
Kind of the same plot as Mother 3, actually, which is a weird connection to make here. Don't worry, I didn't just follow Mother 3. I'm, nice. Of course, alighting a shit ton of nuance. But yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I think that will do it for the week. If you like what you hear, be sure to check us out at www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to the show to keep our lights on, as well as find links to all of our socials, most notably our Discord, where all of our precious babies live. Shout out to Kaiju Stu from Twitter. He's been following us on Twitter for a hot minute, and he joined the Discord this week. And then also shout outs to, and correct me if I'm saying this right, but I believe his name is Tuxedo Kevin. I believe he rejoined the Discord this week. I think that's right.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, Tuxedo Kevin.
Welcome back to the Discord, Tuxedo Kevin.
We missed you.
And as another shout out, Tuxedo Kevin decided for some reason that he enjoyed hearing us talk about this game, and so he's let's playing this game.
Yeah,
he literally lives with Eli, who spends all week cussing out this game, and he was like, you know what, that sounds great. That's
a thing I want to do. Yeah.
Bless you, Tuxedo Kevin.
Yeah. He might be a wee bit of a masochist, but I mean, like, I have my own weird video game masochist tendencies, so I can't judge him too hard. I mean, I am an omni crafter in Final Fantasy, and I'm also leveling crafting on 2 other characters. So,
oh my god,
yeah, I know.
Don't do that.
I'm taking a little break from it. But yeah, I mean,
because Eli, you see, the thing about implosions.
Sam, shut the fuck up.
I'm still playing Final Fantasy, and
you were technically eventually right about that. Eventually,
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
See, if you just give someone the same advice every time, eventually it'll be good advice.
You're right. Always give the same advice.
Well, no, like, if you're predicting, well, what I mean is, though, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, because once it becomes true, it can't become untrue again. Like, if I predict that it's going to rain tomorrow, I can be right or wrong, and then I can be right or wrong every day. But your advice was literally, this has to end at some point. And that is just ontologically true, right?
Yeah. Technical good advice is the best kind of good advice. But as always, for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Wallman.
I've been Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddy Grace Webb, and check out Dungeon Bitches on Kickstarter.
Hell yeah. Bye, everybody.
Toodaloo.
I'm ready if everyone is ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to fucking go. Let's kick it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Car's ready to go too.
Those bikers are ready to go.
That's Maddy, like, all right, time to podcast, and she pulls out her kick-ass Cloud Strife motorcycle, revs it out.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I wanted to tell you this before we started real quick, because I just thought of it. When we were leaving on vacation, and I don't remember if I mentioned this to you too, we were getting stuff in the car, and down our street rides like a middle-aged guy on a motorcycle, not wearing a helmet. He had a ponytail, and on his motorcycle radio was blasting Bad to the Bone. And I looked at Ken and I said, I'm pretty sure we just witnessed a living cliche.
I love that.
It was really great. Anyway, good to go.